Welcome students to our new YouTube channel PharmaX Tech, the division of excellence. So let's start to the most important chapter of pharmacology, which is diuretics. So we explain these diuretics in a very simple way. So in that we first see the what are diuretics. So these diuretics are the drugs that inducing a state of increased urine flow. They are called the diuretics, and these agents are the inhibitors. Inhibitors means inhibit means to stop the action, and these diuretic agents are the inhibitors of the renal ion transporters that decreases the reabsorption of the sodium, that means Na plus channels at different sites in the nephron. So next we see the some mechanisms of these diuretics. First one is glomerular filtration. In that, first is the formula for the net filtration. So the net filtration is equal to the capillary hydrostatic pressure minus the blood colloidal osmotic pressure plus the capsular hydrostatic pressure. And in the glomerular filtration, the reabsorption of substances from the filtrates, and the complete 100% of reabsorbed substances, they are glucose, and also the semi adsorbed or also known as threshold substances, they are water and salts as sodium, that means Na plus, Ca2 plus, that means calcium, K plus means potassium, and Cl means chlorine, etc. They are semi adsorbed or threshold substances. And last one is non-absorbable substances, and the non-absorbable substances is creatinine. Next one is tubular reabsorption of Na plus. So the tubular reabsorption of sodium channel, the in that the proximal convoluted tubule means PCT. So this PCT is short form of proximal convoluted tubule, and this PCT is greater than 60%, and the thick ascending limb of the loop of Henle's is less than 25%, and the distal convoluted tubule means DCT is less than 10%, and the collecting tubules and ducts, they are, that means CT collecting tubules is less than 4% in the tubular reabsorption of the Na plus, that means sodium. So next we see the some diuretics drugs. So in the diuretics drugs, they are classified into three types. First one is loop diuretics. These loop diuretics also known as high ceiling diuretics. Second one is benzothiazides, and thiazides like medium efficacy. And the third one is weak or adjunctive diuretics. So the examples of the loop diuretics, that means high ceiling diuretics, are ethacrenic acid and furosemide. So these ethacrenic acid and furosemide, they are the loop diuretics or high ceiling diuretics. And next one is benzothiazides and thiazide like medium efficacy diuretics. The thiazide diuretics are chlorothiazide, benzothiazide, thiopamide, and chlorthalidone. So the words, the last end is thiazide. They are thiazide like diuretics like chlorothiazide, benzothiazide, and also zipamide and chlorthalidone. And the third one is weak or adjunctive diuretics. They are carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, and the example of carbonic anhydrase inhibitors are acetazolamide. And the second one is potassium sparing diuretics. The potassium sparing diuretics are spironolactone, also known as this spironolactone is also aldosterone antagonists, and also amiloride and trimethoprim. They are potassium sparing diuretics, that means K plus diuretics. Next, third one is osmotic diuretics, and the example of osmotic diuretic is mannitol. And last one is xanthines, and example of xanthines is theophylline. So the theophylline is also the diuretic agents, and they are weak or adjunctive diuretics. So in that we first see the loop diuretics. So in the loop diuretics we see the mode of action of these loop diuretics. So these loop diuretics drugs, they inhibit the Na plus, K plus and 2Cl minus, that means sodium, potassium and 2 chlorine ion co-transporters, also known as symporters, and in the thick ascending loop of Henle. So next we see the some uses of the loop diuretics. So these loop diuretics are used in edema, acute pulmonary edema, and also in cerebral edema, hypotension, hypertension, hypercalcemia, and in kidney stone, forced diuresis in the poisoning. And the loop diuretics, they are example are ethacrenic acid and furosemide, and they are used in edema, acute pulmonary edema, cerebral edema, hypertension, hypercalcemia. This hypertension means increase the tension of the blood pressure, and hypercalcemia means increase the calcium level in the body, and also in the kidney stone and forced diuresis in the poisoning. These loop diuretics are used in these cases. So next one is thiazide and related diuretics. So in that we first see the mode of action of thiazide diuretics. So these thiazide diuretics, these are the agents that inhibit the Na plus and Cl minus, that means sodium and chlorine symport in the cortical segment of loop of Henle and in early portion of the distal convoluted tubule, that means DCT. And the uses of these thiazide diuretics are in edema, in hypertension in diabetes insipidus, and examples of the drugs, they are chlorothiazide, and also they are used in hypercalciuria, that means the increase in concentration of calcium in the urine. This is known as hypercalciuria. So next we see the some complications, that means adverse effects of with the loop of Henle's or high ceiling and thiazide type diuretics. So the adverse effects like hypokalemia. So this hypokalemia means decrease in potassium levels or excess loss of potassium. They are more significant with thiazides, like a disease like cause the disease like arrhythmia due to hypokalemia. Hypokalemia means decrease in level of K plus, that means potassium, and also excess loss of or also you say that loss of K plus is, and this causes the arrhythmia, and this hypokalemia is prevented by, so this hypokalemia is prevented by the concurrent uses of potassium sparing diuretics and also high dietary intake and supplements of potassium. So this hypokalemia is prevented by the with taking of high dietary intakes and taking of the supplements of the potassium, and also the prevented by concurrent uses of potassium sparing diuretics. And next one is hyperglycemia due to hypokalemia. So in this hypoglycemia due to hypokalemia, the ototoxicity with the loop diuretics, this ototoxicity is more with ethacrenic acid. So remember that this ototoxicity is the adverse effects is more with the drug of loop diuretics, which is ethacrenic acid. So this is the most important question in your GPAT exams, which is the more side effects or adverse effects of the ethacrenic acid is ototoxicity. And also in GIT, that means in gastrointestinal tract, and also in CNS, central nervous system disturbances, nausea, vomiting, these are common side effects, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. These are the most common with the ethacrenic acid. And also the allergic reactions, they are mostly with furosemide, and also in hyperuricemia, for this hyperuricemia, for this the thiazide has higher incidences than furosemide. So in the hyperuricemia, the thiazide are most preferable than the loop diuretics, because this thiazide has higher incidences than the furosemide loop diuretics. And next one is calcium level. So this calcium level is decreases. So this decreases the level of calcium, that means Ca2 plus level, also known as hypocalcemia. So decrease in calcium level, that means hypocalcemia, and increase in level of calcium is known as hypercalcemia. So the adverse effects, that is hypocalcemia with the loop diuretics, that and Ca2 plus level increases, is hypercalcemia with the thiazide. So the question is asked, the hypocalcemia is the adverse effect associated with, and the answer is loop diuretics. And if the calcium level increases, that means hypercalcemia, they are the adverse effects associated with the your thiazide diuretics. And also the magnesium level, so the magnesium level, that means Mg plus, in that the decrease of Mg2 plus with the thiazide as well as loop diuretics is the cause of the disease arrhythmia. So the magnesium level, that decrease in magnesium level with the thiazide as well as the loop diuretics cause the arrhythmia. So next we see the some interactions with these diuretics. So interactions include due to hypokalemia. So in the due to hypokalemia, enhance the digitalis toxicity by increasing the sign of binding capacity of digitoxin with sodium and potassium ATPase pump. And also these increases the incidences of ventricular arrhythmias, that means torsus de Pointes syndrome. So this due to hypokalemia, so this torsus de Pointes syndrome is the adverse effects or interaction of this hypokalemia. So this torsus de Pointes syndrome is associated with the hypokalemia, and in that the increase in incidences of ventricular arrhythmias, that means torsus de Pointes, due to this torsus de Pointes is due to the quinidine and other, and also toxicity of quinidine. So this torsus de Pointes is due to quinidine and other like toxicity of the quinidine. This torsus de Pointes syndrome occurs. And also the high ceiling diuretics, that means ethacrenic acid. This ethacrenic acid gives the additive effects with aminoglycosides. These may permanent loss of hearing, known as ototoxicity. So the ototoxicity means permanent loss of hearing. So the loss of hearing is known as ototoxicity. The auto means ear, and the problem in ear, that means hearing, that means permanent totally loss of the hearing, is known as ototoxicity. This is most important. And high ceiling diuretics may enhance the nephrotoxicity of the aminoglycosides. These are the interactions due to hypokalemia. And also the probenecid inhibits the diuretic action of the furosemide and thiazides due to the inhibition of its tubular secretion. So last one is probenecid. Probenecid inhibits. So this probenecid inhibits the diuretic action of furosemide and thiazides due to the inhibition of its tubular secretion. So this probenecid inhibits the tubular secretion of the loop diuretics like furosemide and also thiazide. And next, third type of inhibitors, they are carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. So mode of action of these carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, they are these carbonic anhydrase inhibitors agents, they inhibits to the carbonic anhydrase enzyme, and this carbonic anhydrase enzyme which is responsible for the reabsorption of sodium channel ions, and in the exchange of H plus ion, that means hydrogen ion, in the proximal convoluted tubule, that means PCT, and these carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, this inhibition of this enzyme prevents the reabsorption of Na plus ion, that means sodium ion, from proximal convoluted tubules. And the adverse effects of these carbonic anhydrase inhibitors like acidosis, hypokalemia, and also the hypersensitivity like reactions like in bone marrow depression, and it is contraindicated in Iver's disease. So these carbonic anhydrase inhibitors are contraindicated in Iver's disease. And next one is potassium sparing diuretics, that means K plus sparing diuretics, K plus diuretics. So the potassium sparing diuretics, they are spironolactone, amiloride, and trimethoprim. These spironolactone, amiloride, and trimethoprim, they act at the level of the collecting tubules and in DCT, distal convoluted tubules. So the spironolactone, it is chemically mineral corticoid related steroid. So spironolactone is generally chemically mineral corticoid related, it is related with the steroids, and the mode of action of spironolactone, it is in the liver. The spironolactone converts into active metabolite, name is candrenone, and this candrenone reach at the site of action through the tubular secretion, and it inhibits the formation of the aldosterone, and these induce the protein formation, and also they decrease by decreasing the Na plus, that means sodium reabsorption, or increase the sodium excretion, and also the decrease of potassium secretion. It gives the potassium sparing actions. This is the mechanism of action of spironolactone. So in short, this spironolactone is act in the liver of this spironolactone is converts into active metabolite like candrenone, and this candrenone reaches at the site of action through the tubular secretions, and this candrenone inhibits the formation of aldosterone, and they induce the protein formation by decreasing the Na plus reabsorption or increase in the sodium excretion, and by decrease in the potassium secretion, and this it gives the potassium sparing actions. So next we see the uses of potassium sparing diuretics. So uses of potassium sparing diuretics is concurrent administered. So uses is concurrent administered with thiazide and loop diuretics for the contraction of K plus loss, and also the edema and hypertension. These are the uses of potassium sparing diuretics. They are used in concurrent administered with thiazide and loop diuretics for contraction of K plus loss and edema and hypertension. And key points to remember that aspirin blocks the action of spironolactone action by inhibiting its tubular secretion. So the drugs like aspirin, so this aspirin is NSAIDs, non-NSAIDs. So remember that this drug aspirin we use in paracetamol tablet, crocin tablet aspirin. So this aspirin blocks the action of spironolactone action by inhibiting its tubular secretion. And the adverse effects of these potassium sparing diuretics is adverse effects like confusion, gynecomastia, hirsutism, and irregularities in menstrual cycle in the female. And also adverse effects like amiloride and trimethoprim blocks the Na plus, that means sodium in DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and the CD cells. These CD cells decreases the sodium absorption. So in this way we end this first part of the diuretics, and in the next part we see the antidiuretics. So this diuretics is still continued with antidiuretics. So please watch our channel for more updates, and please thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with PharmaX Tech for the next chapter which is antidiuretics. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you.